Hello and good evening from a very wet and overcast Goa. My name is Rishaddcruz and today I'm going to talk you through the steps you need to take before you buy a property in Goa. So let's jump right in. Number one, legal. So I always suggest and stress that you need to engage a lawyer that's based in Goa and that's familiar with Portuguese law. Now, my recommendation is engage two lawyers. Like you go to a doctor and get two opinions. You go to a lawyer, you come to Goa and you get two legal opinions before you buy a property in Goa. The first I'd suggest is to get someone who's on the panel of a bank. So he may be on the panel of ICICI or HDFC or State Bank of India, Bank of Baroda, etc. And the second would be a junior lawyer just to make it a watertight transaction. Now, what will happen is when you have the lawyer's title report who's on the panel of the bank, it is a bankable asset because tomorrow you can take this to the bank, you can get a loan based on that. Someone who's buying it from you also has it pre-approved, so the transaction can happen much faster. Okay, moving on to the second thing that you need to look at, zoning. People come to me and they say, Rishad, we want a sea-facing villa. We want river touching. We want to bring our boats here. They've got all these dreams. You got to understand that in Goa, we have something called CRZ laws. What is CRZ laws? Coastal Regulatory Zone laws, which means that if it's a sea, you have a setback of 500 meters from the shoreline. So that needs to be set before. If you have a river, the setback needs to be the width of the river. So if the river is 50 meters and your property is got a length of 70 meters, you have to leave 50 meters. So you're left with only 20 meters. So you have to consider these things. Now, some properties in the villages are 0.6, so you can build 60%. Some are 0.8, you can build 80%. In the cities, it can be 1 or 2. So you got to check that before. You got to do your homework really well. Now, the third point is a trick that I use, which is going to the burial records of the church. And a lot of people don't do that. See, a lot of the old land and property and estates belonged to Catholics. And when they were buried, the church would always write alongside in those big books of theirs, survived by and the family members. And you can't fool the church because the church had their burial records. So they know the entire family. So sometimes I get legal reports and I look at them and they don't tally because I know from the burial record that there is a sister sitting in London and for whatever reason it's been excluded in the inventory proceedings, right? So she can come back one day or her kids can come back and say, you know what, we have a claim in this estate. So be careful and always check the burial records. Now, point 4, conducting a physical survey. I always suggest to my buyers that we have to conduct a physical survey, which means that you get a surveyor in, and he will superimpose the plans on top of the government plans. So he'll know whether your boundaries are encroaching on someone else or someone else is encroaching on yours. And before you put down your hard-earned money, before you sign your sale deed, you can either make it come to some agreement with the neighbors, or you can say, you know what, this is too complicated for me, I don't want to deal with it, that guy is encroaching on mine, and tomorrow he may raise an objection. So you can step out before you've put in the money. Okay. Point 5, engage with the locals. Okay. I don't understand why some people don't do this, and I have a lot of respect for people who come in and say, you know what, we want to add value to the area. We want to build one house, or maybe we want to build a couple of houses, but we want to connect with the locals. And trust me, the locals will give you back 10 times more. So we have something called the comunidad, which is a community of elders, and they know everything about a property. They know about the family, the neighbors, etc. And they can be a very powerful ally. So don't come to Goa just to party and to have a house that will create a ruckus. Come and be part of the society, and you will be rewarded in ways that are unimaginable. Goan people are fantastic if they are treated with respect. Okay, so get to know the comunidad. I can introduce you, but we can, and in fact, one of the things that we do is we help foster a healthy relationship with everybody around. Okay, now your regional plan, town and country planning, very important. So sometimes, you see this wonderful property in the middle of nowhere and people buy it, and then they realize that very soon, in the next 5 years, the government is building a garbage dump there, or there is 1,000 apartments approval that's come, or there's some animal shelter that's coming, or there are some religious institution that's coming beside you. So you want to check that before you put down your money, so that you have a safe and secure house or investment. Okay, so point number 7, what is it going to cost you to get your approvals? Okay, now this is, I would say this fluctuates 10 to 15%, but Goa is very complicated because you have to go to 5 departments and you have to go to them again. You need to go to town and country, you need to get your occupancy certificate at the end, you need to get a completion certificate, you need to apply for revision plan, you need to get a health certificate, you need to go to the panchayat, you need to go to the mamladar, you need to go to the talati. These guys keep coming in back and forth. Your files are that big for a property that's one house. So get an estimate done of what it's going to cost you to get all these approvals. Also make sure that some of it, if some of your property is agricultural or some of it is forest, you will need forest approval to chop off the trees or to make a path. So all these things, all this homework needs to be done before. Okay, okay. Point number 7, liaison, very important. So whenever you build a house, you have to apply to all these departments, okay, for your approvals, your construction approvals. Now it's not that straightforward in Goa because you have got to go to 5 departments and you don't have to go to them once each. You got to keep going to them. So you've got to go to the health, you've got to go to mamladar, you have to go to the panchayat, you go to the town and country planning, you have to go to the talati, and you need to get your health NOCs. You need to get it twice. You need to go get your occupancy certificate. If you're changing a little bit, you need to apply for revision plans. You need to get your completion certificate, and you can go bonkers, right, doing all this. So you need to get someone to do it for you, and you need to get an estimate prior to this, so you know exactly what it's going to cost. Also, if your property is zoned as half settlement, half forest, half settlement, half agricultural, then you need forest approval. Okay, sometimes you need NGT approval. So all these things need to be known prior to putting down your money. Okay, your access roads, that's point number 8, is access roads. Very important. If you have single dwelling, it's 3 meters. If you have multiple dwelling, it may be 6 meters. So you need to know. In the regional plan 2021, it may be extended to 6 meters. So you'll get to build more. Very important. Setbacks, number 9. I had a property once where it was a very narrow property and it led all the way to the banks of the river. Now we had to leave 3 meters on both sides. From the river, we had to leave 38 meters because the river width was 38 meters. And unfortunately, there was a highway being planned. So the highway, we had to leave 10 meters, which left us almost nothing to build on, which is why we had to let go of that property. So setbacks are super important and you need to know this prior to construction. The 10th point is probably, according to me, the most valuable and important point that you need to consider before buying, and is probably the reason why most deals fall through. And I'd say up to 50% of deals fall through because of this. And listen very carefully. It's transparency. Who's selling you the property? Is he a broker? What is his interest? Has he signed some agreement with the owner? Has he introduced you to the owner, or is he moonlighting as the owner? Anyone who's well-heeled can immediately suss out whether a person is really the owner or not. And very often agents and brokers don't want you to meet the owners directly because they're scared that you will not pay them their cut. Now, very often in Goa also what happens is some agents are not happy earning the 2% because obviously they put in a lot of effort into legitimizing the property, and I consider that a very valuable addition. I don't think you can discount that. Okay, but you need to know exactly what's going on, because sometimes an agent may have signed up some MOU with somebody else, but the owner connects with another agent and that guy approaches you. Now you don't know that the owner has signed something with this guy. So at some point he can come back and say, you know what, I have an agreement, you owe me money. So it can complicate the deal. And that is why I always suggest get complete transparency before you give in any token or anything like that. I am completely against giving tokens, because then you're locked, your money is blocked, and their property is also blocked. From a landlord's point of view, I also say don't take tokens. There are some people who are very smart. They will give you, for a property of 1 crore, they'll give you 5 lakhs and they'll hold you like that for the next 25 years. You won't be able to sell your property. And for people who are investing in Goa, I tell you this because you give them 20 lakhs and your 20 lakhs is gone. So be very, very careful of point number 10. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that I've shed enough light on the challenges and on the steps that you need to take before investing in Goa. I hope I've made you more savvy investors. One of the things that we aim to do before we set up this enterprise was to bring value to the market by connecting the best people in Goa. So whether they are agents, whether they are contractors, whether they are solicitors, whether they are bankers, the whole range, and bring all of them together and be able to help you make a smooth transition into Goa, either whether it's constructing a house or whether you've seen something that you like and you already want to buy a ready house. I think we are in the perfect position to deliver that kind of value. Okay, so that's all from me now. I look forward to hearing from you, and take care, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Good night.